This is New Jersey.
Hello, my name is Jackie Rand, and I'm reporting live from this brick building.
Okay, now what I'm going to have you do, Lev, is lower the microphone until I say stop, stop. Good. Up higher. Lower. Here. And you're going to put it like that. Yeah, tilt it towards your mouth. Okay, lower it a little bit.
I'm so glad I wore this shirt now.
Me too. Lower it a little bit. Lower. Good. Up. Stop.
Right there. My favorite movie is this movie that's about a bond between a father and his son and how they used to disagree and never liked each other. I don't know the name.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
So it's a tough question. A lot of good movies out there, but I like Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings.
On the son's way to getting the prisoner, he has to drive through the wall of the church, picks up the prisoner, drives out. A few yards later, the kid's dad stops him, screaming, "What are you doing?" The son screams, "Get out of the way, or else I'll run you over." The dad moves out of the way, the car drives. There's a huge heavy-duty tank-like thing following them, and it's hard to remember.
My favorite movie of all time, probably Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's a good movie. I just like it because I notice like something different every single time. Like there's always something new every time you watch it.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Houseboat.
And can you say a certain line or scene from the movie that is your favorite?
One of my favorites is a song by Sophia Loren, or that Sophia Loren sings. I'll sing you a little bit of it. It goes, presto, presto, do your very besto, don't hang back with a zip and a zing.
Then the son gets out of his car, says to his dad, "What the are you doing?" And the dad says, "Excuse me, I just saved your life."
When I was a little kid, I was obsessed with SpongeBob SquarePants. I knew every little detail about it. So, when I heard SpongeBob the movie was going to be playing at the local theater in my town, I grabbed my friend and headed over there to find out how much the SpongeBob lovers loved and knew about the funny little sponge.
What is your favorite thing about SpongeBob?
My favorite thing about SpongeBob is the absurdity of it all.
I have to say the fact that he lives in a pineapple.
That he's turned into an ice cream pop.
His optimism.
If I was a SpongeBob character, I would be Squidward. Just because.
Gary, because he's awesome. Okay, that's not you at all. Gary's quiet.
Gary's
like what?
awesome, so I'm awesome.
I would say Sandy because she's so intelligent and pretty.
Who's the prettiest girl in the place? I identify with Pearl. Is she a grandmother?
Most identify with, I have to say Patrick, because he's really goofy.
The movie is about SpongeBob and Patrick going on a quest, an adventure. Have you ever gone on an adventure? If so, what was it?
Yes, most recently to Tuckahannock, which is where up in upstate New York, right?
Yes, actually last week we drove out to Indiana, and that was an adventure because our car had no air conditioning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Where you see the bottom of the sea, where the sea used to be.
I did a scavenger hunt once. Does that count?
As for me, adventuring is my whole life.
I've always wanted to be on an adventure that could probably change the world for the better.
And it's very exciting to see and imagine what was there before.
That is a very good answer.
Thank you.
You guys know the SpongeBob theme song?
Yes, definitely.
No.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
She can.
Are you ready, kids?
Okay. Aye, aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
That's all I got.
Listen to Pineapple Under the Sea. SpongeBob SquarePants, absorbed in yellow and porous disease.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants. His nautical nonsense and something you wish. SpongeBob SquarePants. Gonna flop on the deck and flop like a fish.
SpongeBob. Ready? SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah!
I can't play my nose like a flute, but I would if I could.
That's right.
Are you a Goofy Goober?
Yes.
Camera, I am a Goofy Goober.
I'm a goofy goober.
I am definitely a goofy goober,
You don't even know what that is, sir.
but I am one nonetheless.
Is that better?
I'm rolling, so whenever,
Oh, okay.
whenever you're ready or not ready.
No, not a problem. Hi, my name is Karen Sloat Olson, and we're here today at Thomas Edison National Historical Park. It's in West Orange, New Jersey, and you're at the laboratory of Thomas Alva Edison. Now, in 1887, Thomas Edison came to West Orange. Well, actually, I should take that back. In 1886, he came to West Orange. He had purchased a home for his new bride, Mina Miller. And then he decided he wanted to open up the world's grandest laboratory and purchase the property you're on today.
Well, we're at 212 Thomas Avenue in the borough of Riverton, and this was the house of Richard Milton Hollingshead Jr., and this is where he first trialed his drive-in film.
One such building was known as the Black Maria, and you can notice that over my shoulder here. It was the first building built for the recording of motion pictures. Now, what we have at the laboratory today is actually a replica of the original. The first building, started in December of 1892, completed in 1893, sat behind where the water tower does today. It literally was on the back lot.
This is the backyard. He pulled his car up, put the projector on the hood, projected the film. We don't know what he showed here. We know what the first film was at the drive-in down in Pennsauken. That was called Wives Beware with Adolf Menjau.
What I find really fascinating when you walk in this building is to take a look at the bulbs. This was the brightness, this was the light that Edison was dealing with. How do you make these pictures? How do you get the brightest light available? The first thing he did was to construct a large building that had the ability to open up a roof for light or even the side doors.
Well, the first movie I ever saw here was Goonies. Aliens was when we ran here. St. Elmo's Fire ran here. Stand By Me ran here. But the entrance to the theater was here. The box office was this corner. So that's been completely taken away. But there was a box office here, and there was a door here that you went in, and then there were stairs that went up into the lobby. This would be the back of theater number 2. The curtain would be like right there. So. But I've been told that this is this has been what I think a hardware store since it's been closed.
The area that we're standing in is part of Pennsauken Township, Camden County. This area was wide open when Richard decided to put his drive-in here. There were very few buildings around it. We not only had the drive-in constructed here, which opened in June 6, 1933, we had something called a whoopee coaster where you would pay a small fee and go in with your car and drive up and down on this wooden track that had undulations in it, and it would bounce you up to your headliner and drop you down into your seat. We had a drive-in boxing arena. We had a dog track. There were all kinds of recreational activities here for people with automobiles.
For example, you have what we call the hand laundry. This is just a temporary set was one of many films that was shown here or created here in the park. A lot of the folks who worked for Thomas Edison in the movies were actually vaudeville acts. They were folks like Sandow the Strongman. Matter of fact, they made a comment in the newspaper when Sandow came, the strongest man had met the smartest man. Annie Oakley came and showed off her shooting prowess. You had Buffalo Bill and some of the Indians from his Wild West show. And then you had the vaudeville acts, as I mentioned here.
Wow, well, this is not what you would expect. I mean, the ceiling is much lower, obviously, because there would have been a gigantic screen over my shoulder. Those stairs would have been the stairs to the balcony. So this would be the auditorium. The seats would have been here, and it would have been inclined slightly. And then over my shoulder would have been the screen. And this would be probably about where... Well, this was where we used to come when we were kids to see movies. I can remember coming here with my brother and seeing so many great films. I mean, I can remember coming here and seeing movies we probably shouldn't have been seeing at that age. I mean, I remember seeing Romancing the Stone here and Blade Runner and Trading Places. We saw that. When we saw that here, we came out. I remember looking at the poster and while we were waiting for Mom to pick us up, and that was such a funny movie, and we were like doing lines in the movie and probably getting them wrong because we'd just seen it. When I got older, I got a job working here as an usher. This would be the stairs to the balcony. This is all carpeted in like this really dark red carpet that had this like really strange pattern to it. And up here was also the projection booth too. I was still in high school when I worked here, and then I became, I sort of started, I didn't really become a manager, I became a projectionist first. We learned how to thread the projectors, and then they needed someone to cover one night as a manager, and then eventually I became manager of this theater. At some point or other I managed every theater on Long Beach Island. Oh look, there's a shot of it when it was still the Colonial Theater. And it had, that's the old marquee, that's the new marquee. For a while when I worked here, the marquee extended, you probably remember, the marquee extended way out across the sidewalk, into the street. Changing the marquee was possibly one of the worst jobs at the Colonial Theater. Nobody wanted to do it. You came down and your hands were black, and you were so happy when it was a short title. Well, I mean, Long Beach Island itself always felt like back in those days, Long Beach Island always felt like a carnival. You get out of work at 11 o'clock from the movie theater, and there was still stuff to do. There was still a line down at Panzone's that was going to go till 1 a.m. There was always something. There was always an arcade open somewhere, so you could walk around after work, and there were people out, there were girls out. It was always, you always felt like there was always something going on in the summertime on Long Beach Island. And so even though you worked nights, you still got to take part in that. And I mean, it was the place where a lot of people came, so you used to see, at some point or other, somebody always wanted to get into the movies for free, so you always got to let somebody in, and it was a good way to meet girls, I can say that. Well, that hasn't changed at all. It's exactly the way it was. You can prop this door open so people could see that they have to go out this way. Yeah. Thank you, have a good night. Thank you, have a good night. Thank you for coming to the movies. Thank you, have a good night.
That's what you would say?
Thank you, have a good night. Thank you, have a good night. Good night now. It's like, the airplane, people go, okay, bye-bye. It was thank you, have a good night. Thank you, have a good night. Thank you for coming to the movies. And the night would be over and be like, okay, let's go home. Well, I mean, it's very nostalgic, of course. I mean, this was the best job I ever had growing up. I mean, we loved movies. It was our favorite thing. It still is my favorite thing. It's nostalgic but sad because it's not a movie theater anymore. So and it never will be. So it's kind of one of those things where it's kind of like I feel like the island loses things when it gives up on those kinds of things. But it's it's great to come back though and see what it became. Got to walk around it and check it out.
I think that Richard would be a little bit surprised, although he was the one who pulled the drive-in from this location, and he was an entrepreneur, so I guess he wouldn't be shocked to find that there are now houses standing on the property that once housed the drive-in.
The spirit of Edison is what he did. And that a visitor can come and, whether it's looking at the Black Maria and getting an inspiration to do movies or going in the library to do research, I think that's the real spirit. That's the spirit of Edison. That's really what we're trying to promote here. That anyone can move on and they can become the next Edison. You know, here's a kid who barely went to school, taught himself, read voraciously to learn all these different things, and he changed the world.
If they were going to make a movie about your life and they were going to have a section that dealt with your time of coming to work at the movie theater when you were a teen and then fast forwarding to who you are now, who would play the young usher and who would play the mature magazine executive that you are today?
Mature magazine. Well, I mean,
can I throw one out there and see if it sticks?
Well, I know what you're gonna say. But go ahead.
Robert Downey Jr.
All right, I guess that would be fine. I'm not sure that Mr. Downey Jr. is available at the moment.
And what would happen in that movie, were it to be made into a movie, and you were to come back to this building, which is currently for sale? What would the story be? A writer's exaggerated. Because what I'm imagining.
What are you imagining? You tell me what you're imagining, and I'll tell you how ridiculous
Robert Downey
it is.
Jr. buys this.
Oh, is that right?
This building that once was a movie theater, converted into a hardware store, and is now an empty cavern. And he opens it up again as a movie theater.
Well, that would be a remarkable fairy tale.
You brought the clouds with you. How are we doing?
We're doing good. How you doing, Doc?
Hey.
Good to see you. Yes.
Okay.
And Max.
How you doing, guys?
What made you decide to buy a drive-in movie theater?
Well, I was a pediatrician. I was looking for a place for to put up a skate park. Because you see a lot of kids are becoming very sedentary, computer generation, and with that, the weight's going up, blood pressure going up, obesity goes up. So that's all part of the same problem. If you get them outside exercising, then you got that covered. So skate park's a nice place. So it was supposed to be in this quadrant here. This is the way it was laid out. The city approved it and everything was all great. And I met these guys in the Association of Drive-In, United Drive-In Theaters Owners Association, UDITOA. And meet with these guys. These guys are savvy. They've been doing it for generations, literally. Yeah. And so they said, don't give up these spots to a skate park. Put up a second screen. That's what we did.
He is a big kid. I say, talk about battling the public's notion of how this happens. I actually have to battle him a lot of the time because he doesn't really get it either. He just likes doing this. But for me, it's more like, well, why are we doing this? Because our quality of life hasn't improved. It actually has deteriorated.
So why are you doing it?
I'm chained to him. That's why. That's what love does.
It's 100% reimbursement at the time of the encounter.
Right.
They wanted a hot dog, they got a hot dog. They wanted a cheesesteak, they got a cheesesteak. Paid for, done. They're happy, I'm happy, that's it. We open the box office 2 hours before the movie starts. So people can come in, have dinner, let the kids run around, get tired, and that makes everybody's night nice. Somebody saw somebody putting somebody in the trunk. I don't know where they saw it, but they saw it. So there was like 3 town looking for, a kidnapping kind of thing. So one of the cops says, hey, did you think about checking the driving?
We had the cops come, open up trunks, and it was a whole big deal.
So they pull up on the line, and they were there, and they said to the guy, can you please get out in your trunk? And there was a girlfriend in the trunk.
That's how this all started, with me checking trunks, and been doing it ever since that day. Unfortunately, I have not found anyone in the trunk yet. But
Unfortunately or fortunately?
Unfortunately, I guess. Yeah, fortunately, I have not found anyone in the trunk.
Full night we got about 600 something cars. 700 cars would be our full night. You figure 2 adults per car, they figure 1,400 people. You guys brought rain, I'm gonna chase you away. Okay, I'm really gonna chase you guys away if you brought rain. That part there. What else? This is where I want to put the golf course. It's all family entertainment. Excuse me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Years ago, when one of the young security guards said, "I think there's something going on," so okay. It must have been maybe the first year we opened, I'm guessing. So I go in the back. There's a pickup truck. Guy's bare butt. So flash the light. The look on his face was priceless. Yeah. I'm here with PBS. People come in, they go to the register first. Just like your major amusement park. If somebody's coming in, he's a regular, they give him the high sign at the door. You getting the pizza? Yes. One guy was a big peanut butter and jelly guy. He would come in every night with his girlfriend and cook and say, peanut butter and jelly. Menus up here, you want to shoot the menus. When the 7 dwarfs were out, we had 7 different shakes. French fries is probably a big seller. You got the plain fries, cheese fries, chili fries. Harry Potter was out. We had 4 different shakes for the Harry Potter thing. And those are quirky, but people will come in, they'll still order a Gryffindor or a Slytherin shake. We know what they are. And if they came in for the Avengers, it was a Thor shake. Well, it's Thor in their eyes, but Slytherin in the other guy's eyes. Same shake. Glad you made it. They brought the clouds with them. I told them to go home.
So tell us, you guys are here. Now, is this a first time for you, or have you been to this drive-in before?
For me, this is my second time here. Keith?
Me too, but I was like 3 seconds old the first time I went here.
For me, it's experiencing a drive-in movie theater, which I didn't get to experience enough as a kid. And I know it's unique in New Jersey to have this, and I wish I could come more, but it's a little far away. But the retro experience for me personally, and the attraction of Steven Spielberg movies, especially Jaws. And how do you feel, Keith?
I just think there's a nice charm to it that you don't get from sitting in the movie theater. There's something else. It's kind of a different experience in itself.
We came from Philly. We live in Philly, yep. This is my family. 3 little kids. It's Elizabeth and Selah and Callum and Clementine.
Her first drive-in.
Her first drive-in.
This is more of a sense of community, and our whole family can come and enjoy it together. And even the little kids, they would come sometimes and they would take a nap. They would fall asleep and we could enjoy the second feature, almost like having a date, even when we couldn't drag all of them to the movie theater. So we really enjoy it, and we drag as many people down with us as we can, and we can enjoy their company, and nobody's going to throw popcorn at us for talking. So
yeah.
We really enjoy the movie all together when we come to the drive-in.
I make short movies too, and he's like my Robert De Niro in my short movies, real independent movies, yep.
Yes.
Wow. Can you do any impressions of people from movies?
And since I am dead, I can take off my head and recite Shakespearean quotations. There we go.
Do you remember your first movie experience when you were a kid, going to the movie theater, going to a drive-in?
My dad took me on a date to see Cinderella when I was probably 3 years old, so yeah, I remember that.
What do you remember of it?
I don't. I just remember that it was really special that I got to go somewhere just with my dad, and that was our special time together. So
He used to watch a lot of exploitation films as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, so I would say Night of the Living Dead at the Broadway
Yeah.
Theater in Pittman. Probably the first thing that jumps into my head.
He used to watch Planet of the Apes, and still does all the time, and all the sequels. He saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre in theaters when he was little, and Taxi Driver.
Yeah, that was around 1975. I wasn't that little then. But
Yeah.
youngish.
You guys have seen all the classics.
What's the first movie you ever saw? Do you remember?
Jeez. That's a hard question. You would know better than I.
Yeah, I'm foggy on that one.
He's probably foggy on it because you've seen so many different movies. And they're just kind of like
Wizard of Oz, Snow White, that sort of thing.
Went to like a Disney thing?
Yeah.
You didn't go immediately into Raging Bull and...
No.
Mary Poppins. Yes. Kindergarten Birthday. But that's the first movie I remember.
To Serve with Love. It was a wonderful, wonderful movie. I remember seeing it as a kid.
They're leaving the show and they jump into the car and, you know, it's 100 miles to Chicago. They got a half a pack of cigarettes, a half a tank of gas. It's dark out and they're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
With Joe Pesci when he's in the restaurant. You're laughing at me? You're laughing at me? You think I'm funny? Do I amuse you?
Yeah, when they have the, like, you know, the fist fight in Zero Gravity, that's like the best scene from any movie ever.
I really love gangster movies, and The Godfather was more than that, you know, just a classic.
Yeah, I definitely remember seeing one of the Star Wars movies at the drive-in too, when I was a kid. So the same thing, back in the, you know, the station wagon, and just looking out. I guess we must have pulled backwards, because I remember looking out the big window.
Well, that would be a remarkable fairy tale.
We are exactly what you see, bruised and scraped up knees. Still we find our way. Some come as quickly as they go. Some choose their own roads. Still they find their way. And God knows how hard it is to lose. Pray to whichever one you choose, that you will find your way. Now we find our 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 way.